Jeremiah chapter 38, verses 1 through 28. Shephatiah son of Mattah, Gedaliah son of Pashhur, Jehucal son of Shelemiah, and Pashhur son of Malchijah heard what Jeremiah had told the people when he said, "This is what the Lord says. Whoever remains in this city will die by sword, famine, and plague, but whoever goes over to the Chaldeans will live. He will escape with his life, and he will live. This is what the Lord says. This city will surely be handed over to the army of the king of Babylon, and he will capture it." Then the officials said to the king, "This man should be put to death because he is demoralizing the soldiers who are left in the city. He is demoralizing all the people by saying these things to them. This man is not seeking the welfare of the people. He wants to hurt them." King Zedekiah answered, "Very well. He is in your hands. The king cannot do anything to stop you." So they took Jeremiah and threw him into the cistern of Malchijah, the king's son, which was in the courtyard of the guard. They let Jeremiah down by ropes. There was no water in the cistern, but only mud, and Jeremiah sank down into the mud. Ebed-Melech the Cushite, an official in the king's house, heard that they had put Jeremiah in the cistern. While the king was sitting in the Benjamin gate, Ebed-Melech left the palace and said to the king, "My lord the king, everything that these men have done to Jeremiah the prophet is evil. They have thrown him into a cistern, where he is likely to die because of the famine, for there is no more bread in the city." Then the king gave orders to Ebed-Melech the Cushite, "Take 30 men from here under your command and lift Jeremiah the prophet up out of the cistern before he dies." So Ebed-Melech took command of the men and entered a room under the treasury in the palace. He took some old rags and worn-out clothing from there, and he lowered them with ropes to Jeremiah in the cistern. Ebed-Melech the Cushite said to Jeremiah, "Put these rags and worn-out clothes under your arms to pad the ropes." After Jeremiah did that, they lifted him up with the ropes and pulled him out of the cistern. After this Jeremiah remained in the courtyard of the guard. King Zedekiah then sent for Jeremiah and brought him to the third entrance of the temple of the Lord. He said to Jeremiah, "I am going to ask you something. Do not hide anything from me." Jeremiah replied, "Won't you put me to death if I tell you the truth? If I give you advice, you won't listen to me." So King Zedekiah swore a secret oath to Jeremiah, "As surely as the Lord lives, who gave us our lives, I will not put you to death, and I will not hand you over to the men who seek your life." Then Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, "The Lord, the God of armies, the God of Israel, says, if you surrender to the Babylonian king's officials, your life will be spared, and this city will not be burned. You will live, and your family will live. But if you will not surrender to the Babylonian king's officials, then this city will be handed over to the Chaldeans. They will burn it down, and you will not escape from their hands." King Zedekiah said to Jeremiah, "I am afraid of the Jews who have defected to the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans may turn me over to them, and they will torture me." But Jeremiah said, "They will not turn you over to them. Please obey the Lord by doing what I tell you. It will go well with you, and your life will be spared. But if you refuse to surrender, this is what the Lord has revealed to me. All the women who are left in the palace of the king of Judah will certainly be brought out to the officials of the Babylonian king. Those women will say to you, 'Those trusted friends of yours misled you and led you to defeat. Your feet have sunk down into the mud, and they all have deserted you. They will bring all your wives and children to the Chaldeans. You yourself will not escape their grasp. You will be seized by the king of Babylon, and this city will be burned down.'" Then Zedekiah said to Jeremiah, "If you do not let anyone know about this conversation, you will not die. But if the officials hear that I have spoken with you, they will come and ask you, 'Tell us what you said to the king. Do not hide it from us, and we will not put you to death, just tell us what the king said to you.' Tell them, 'I was humbly begging the king not to return me to the house of Jonathan to die there.'" All the officials then came to Jeremiah. When they began to question him, he said everything just the way the king had commanded. Then they stopped questioning him, since no one had heard the conversation. So Jeremiah remained in the courtyard of the guard until the day Jerusalem was captured. He was still there when Jerusalem fell. Jeremiah chapter 52, verses 1 through 30. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king. He ruled in Jerusalem for 11 years. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just like everything that Jehoiakim had done. All this took place in Jerusalem and Judah because of the anger of the Lord, until he cast them out of his presence. Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. In the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came against Jerusalem with his whole army. They set up camp around the city and built siege works all around it. The city was under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. By the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine was so severe in the city that there was no bread for the people of the land. Then a breach was made in the city wall, and all the men in the army fled. Since the Chaldeans had surrounded the city, the men left it at night by way of the gate between the two walls near the king's garden. They fled toward the Arabah, but the Chaldean army pursued the king. They caught up with King Zedekiah in the plain near Jericho, where his whole army was scattered, and he was captured and taken to the king of Babylon at Riblah in Hamath. There the king of Babylon passed judgment on him. The king of Babylon slaughtered Zedekiah's sons before his eyes. He also slaughtered all the officials of Judah at Riblah. Then the king of Babylon put out the eyes of Zedekiah and put him in bronze shackles. He brought him to Babylon and put him in prison until the day he died. On the 10th day of the 5th month, in the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard who served the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. He burned the temple of the Lord, the king's palace, and all the houses of Jerusalem. He burned down every important building. The whole Chaldean army under his command broke down all the walls around Jerusalem. Then Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard carried off some of the poorest of the people, some of the survivors left in the city, some of the people who had deserted to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the craftsmen. But Nebuzaradan captain of the guard left some of the poorest people of the land to work the vineyards and farms. The Chaldeans broke up the bronze pillars that were in the Lord's temple, along with the carts for water and the bronze sea, and carried away all the bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, the shovels, the snuffers, the bowls, the dishes, and all the bronze articles used in the temple service. The commander of the guard took away the bowls, firepans, sprinkling bowls, pots, lampstands, dishes, and the drink offering bowls, the best of the gold and the best of the silver. The 2 pillars, the sea, and the 12 bronze bowls under the basins, which King Solomon had made for the temple of the Lord, were made of more bronze than could be weighed. As for the pillars, each pillar was 27 feet high and 18 feet in circumference. Each was 4 fingers thick and hollow. Each had a bronze capital, 7.5 feet high, with a network and pomegranate decorations on the capital all around, all of bronze. The other pillar with its pomegranates was just like it. There were 96 pomegranates on the sides. There was a total of 100 pomegranates above the surrounding network. The captain of the guard took Sariah the chief priest, Zephaniah the second priest, and the 3 doorkeepers. From the people left in the city, he took the officer in charge of the fighting men and 7 royal advisers he found in the city. He also took the scribe of the military officer who conscripted the people of the land, along with 60 of his men who were found in the city. Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard took them and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. The king of Babylon struck them down and executed them at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was carried away into exile from its native soil. This is a tally of people whom Nebuchadnezzar carried away into exile. In the 7th year, 3,023 Jews. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, 832 people from Jerusalem. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard carried away 745 Jews into exile. There were 4,600 people in all.